Get this summit started, this conference. I know we've already said grace for the food, but we're also going to bless this event as well. So, Reverend, if you can come back up here.
Let us pray. Kami ko bato gijinani chilo eling lo raile ban raini na chiponin raini ngan ko alagam jimonani kamolo lim labarim kau dejuk. Kenjoni na mani mauruk. Shoni ene kwar peri buruan rain meret telge milo chugum bergain. Nganam ko badok. Nganam rong jagi awleben mengain rawr gimrar walak ilo ijogo mekemar beri. Megardage shoni lal kemi meuri ilo karak himpebe ko air. Agiro janich kodi jim ko jala im komelele kin menodem jich. Kin menini char im kachidagi pamiro jilo awain en wada melele im chala ga chonien auruk ngan gemro kemar berilo marshal island ni midok ngani jegain elang rora ridok chen chedian state ko ilo hamergain ngan udene je charbalgain merajer rogagi na kwalagi ngan rain udim ji merar meron ko bado gilo yenin kachidagi pamiro personalen begon beri berim lelangai lamana kamela ko ramman ilo ay na chere chalala jengo yimrar tabari ngan ledo ngan gemro kemi ko bado gijini lo chiboni lo rainin kamman be yenin en joni en amman ilo amoy ko bay pendon is parana charm kachidagi pamiro ken Rebelle rain, Rome rar perilo majal. Eora temegim kajirige or chediai rar perilo majal. Imrajala gin majal. Ilo yen gain eligdada imrar retire chen cherbalgora radio gagi raganan chere chelala jon go air ngan kemro me kemar perilo pada. Em kachidege pamiro personalen. Pa kon le dongan kemu jalep. Pagamin marong melele ken karagim bebe ko am rawrgim rammanim ko jele dongan ke mieno dim jich parjuanalen kajaraman ke mojalep kajaraman rein meranaj kononongan gem ilo awagain ende na charim kachita ilo dadam jesus komolot amen.
Thank you, Reverend Talanja. Can I ask for the Bikinians to come up, please? We're going to sing the national anthem of the organization for Bikini here in Salem, Oregon. And I wanted to say my greatest thanks to everybody that's participating and drove all the way down here or flew all the way in to join this event. We are extremely honored and thankful and blessed to have people like you that want to help spread this knowledge on nuclear legacy. On March 1st, 1954, the United States detonated a Bravo shot on Bikini Atoll. On Bikini Atoll. It was the biggest nuclear test ever conducted by the U.S. government. 1,000 times more powerful than the bombs that they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Today, we pause to take a moment and reflect on this. And the fellow Marshallese people that were affected by this, and that have suffered and lost so much as a result of the nuclear testing programs on the atolls. Let us never forget the sacrifice and the suffering. Let us continue to push for the elimination of the nuclear weapons and the peace and the security of the world, which accompanies us all. God bless. Im kajaraman kumut ka jojo ilo rainin. Come on. I apologize. The elders do not want to sing unless all of you guys stand up. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for paying respect. Yo Thank you. You may all be seated. At this time, I am going to introduce our General Counsel, Mr. Eldon Alik, who's going to be speaking on behalf of the Ambassador to the United States, the Marshallese Ambassador to the United States, Gerald Zacchaeus.
Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. As you all know, the ambassador is supposed to be here today. He got stranded in San Francisco. He attended a meeting, a GEMFAC meeting, and the meeting went all the way to 11 o'clock last night. And he wants me to convey that he's very sorry that he's not supposed to be here today. I will address our American friends, and then I will address my Marshallese brothers and sisters. First of all, I really don't have anything prepared, because as I was said, the ambassador called me last night at 11:30 saying he's not coming in. So I didn't really have a chance to sit down and write down what I wanted to say. But I really do believe that if I speak from the heart, it's probably the best way to go. But so first of all, I want to acknowledge our Heavenly Father for this wonderful event that we can gather here together. I want to acknowledge the community here, the pastors, their wives, the elders in our community, and the Bikini organization for sponsoring this event. I would like also to acknowledge Dr. Holly Barger and her students for always talking about the nuclear issues and the issues that the Marshallese are facing. I also would like also to acknowledge, I just met a lot of people here this morning. Professor Glenn Alcali, who is also here today. As you can read in your notes, he was a Peace Corps volunteer in the Marshall Islands for a long time. So thank you for coming in. I'd like also to acknowledge the CAN board who are here today. Lloyd, Henian, Steve, his wife, and Kiana, and Jesper, and David. Just to give a little prop for them. They have done a lot for this community. I think they started this whole movement with the passing of the bill, the healthcare bill here in Oregon, the driver's license bill. They're the one that started behind it. And Lloyd he's the one who's actually should get all the great credits. And I was able to witness the passing of the healthcare bill in Washington on Thursday when the governor signed it. And that thing started because of the CAN people here. They went there and they started advocating. So I just want to give them the acknowledgement today. And if I didn't say the atomic veterans that are here today, thank you guys. I always felt that we are brothers. We're linked. History has linked us. And we share the same stories as you guys. And thank you for always supporting the Marshallese community. If I didn't mention anybody, Brian Cowden, he's here. I want to acknowledge him. My sister, Kathy Chittingle, she's here too. She's a strong advocate for the Marshallese. Thank you for coming. A little history about myself. I was born on Jelowitch. Jelowitch is an island in the Marshall Islands, and was adopted by my aunt. So she took me to Jelowitch, and until I was 12 or 13, I came back to Majuro and lived there. And I graduated from Marshall Islands High School. And I first came to the States in '81 to attend college at Gonzaga University in Spokane. But I'll admit, I came there and I was fine for first year, second year. I got introduced to alcohol and beer and party life, and I wasn't able to graduate. I wanted to come to Oregon because that's what I heard where all the Oregonians were. I had an uncle here, a brother here, so I ended up coming here, and I took a few classes, but I ended up joining the military. And I was in the service for almost 4 years, stationed in Washington, Fort Lewis, Washington. Then I got out of the service and raised my family in Portland, Oregon. And my son, I brought him here. He was born in Oregon. So I've lived here. I've lived in Oregon for over 30 years. And I guess with a nuclear legacy and climate change together, I can honestly say that I am a victim of both. For nuclear legacy, I was talking to one of the girls back there, and I had to share with her that in 1979, a tidal wave came through Majuro when I was in high school as a 10th grader. And that totally broke the community. I never went back to my community after that. I lived in a tent for 10 years, not 10 years, for a whole year. They built 10 cities on the beaches there, and they brought the military to build back the place. And school was shut down for the whole year. And as I was telling her, I knew her mom very well because we grew up together. She was literally my neighbor. But after that, I never went back there, and I never went back to see my childhood friends. So that wave literally broke the community, just like our nuclear legacy. Those people from Bikini, they're never going to go back to their islands, and that whole culture is broken apart. All the things they've learned from their great-great-parents, they're going to be gone forever. So these two things, undoubtedly, they really impacted our people. And as someone that has lived here in Oregon for so long, I've seen it all. I was here when we had to apply for work permit to even work. And you have to apply 3 months in advance. You can only work in the summertime. During school time, you cannot work. You're only allowed to be here as a student. So I remember one time I didn't apply in time. So my work permit never came. So for one whole summer, me and 5 other friends, we rented an apartment in Monmouth. And we had to pick strawberry the whole summer. But good thing it was I remember our apartment was $250 a month. But we did it, we made it, and it was kind of fun. We had to get up at morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, and go pick. And we'd pick till like 2 in the afternoon, and we'd have like $30 each. And we had enough money to party and cover our expenses. But anyways, I just want to thank everyone, all the rebels that are here today, because I know every one of you has some kind of role in this movement that we have, and I know a lot of you have the passion and the heart for the Marshallese people, and there's not a lot of you around, and you're a gem for us Marshallese, and I just want to express how gratitude I am for all of you. And as someone that's lived here for so long in Oregon, I think what we've done, what we started in Oregon, where we organized all the Marshallese together, we can start building on that. And we have so many Marshallese in other states now. Arkansas, we have 15,000 Marshallese. So we should start organizing everyone. And please help us to get us all together and speak out and just tell everyone who we are. And I will have the opportunity to go speak with a lot of people in the little towns of Arkansas to tell them who the Marshallese people are and why we are here. And in my heart, I don't think the U.S. government got anything against us. I mean, when meeting with a lot of government officials, I'm really surprised that a lot of them don't know what happened in the Marshall Islands. But the more they know, the more they're willing to help us. And it's just so unfortunate and sad that we're in, 30-some years of the compact, and little has been known. And it's not because it's partly our fault. Because in America, everyone has a right to speak. And we should, as Marshallese, we should take that and run with it and unite. Thank you, guys. And now I'm going to address my Marshallese friends. Ako mo tata inganan kamulo lirot kan chuniye naman. Ini parmarang ko ba ito kajuju. Ikamulol imkle olaben rain clear. Chalo minganan elabiganan ba we chalo joni nani ar kaboje we yar jab ini karam pyaji to ngarnom kono nor Cowden chipunin. Pada minganan ba rain gay an kayang ramajal. Kayang berjin gay. Kajangan labalawar pokona renglo menegin me kajangan kamani imililo na barangan chesim kurubin kaner ko ba to kajut em ko ilo amra gay ne all of men kamani men ko rekil men rajam magad gay e chena na armi ibendron em chena armi ibendron ko ala gay ni gir emi jage ne teramman ko ila amra gay ne chonin rele do gar maron ko nono e chalo perngo ko nono roban kalbu jikit em chego ibendron kalbalawar ibendron always stay again with em kwalangan army kan wonga toni ner berejin tagorar walangan ke echep na aluminin jalo na aluminin em ko la jonin kiena rang ki ga jonin tere ga yam beriye we. I'm going to speak in English again because I feel that this is something that I really need to speak about. At this very moment, the Marshall Islands, we're like in a bind. As we all know, there's a nuclear ban treaty that's been going on. It's in the news. And right now, the government, our position is, instead of signing it right away, we are going to hold hearings and ask the public opinion and what we really should do. Because for one, in the compact, there's wording in the compact that says that if we sign this treaty, we might go against the compact. And we're not sure if we want to do that. We want to ensure that we're in the best interest of everyone, people that are here. And we all know that with this new administration, with immigration and everything going on, we're kind of scared. What happens if we sign the treaty and the U.S. says, okay, you guys break the agreement. Now we want to negotiate about immigration. What's going to happen? But if we don't sign it, we're going to look bad in the face of the world. The other nations will look at us and say, hey, you guys are the victims. Why aren't you signing it? The pangan cara ko jala choni 3D reba ka yang chaini giyo himat kiena rang lo train rajab kanan makajam chaini ranan pajaragam lala ana wala balamanak rani dongan chigin kaman hearing kan ka kolanga ka yang chaini 3D na ka juma gi nangan lo kampagen himat kiena kanan chalai tamiyo jalamanak bay Cicip kanan ceni melamat kian nana mereka rapaw ka imjami yang ceni teridi negi jangan negi kerol kumiang nang rencana negi kenan kan imak rejin emet kian yang kanan negi lana na olah menak rentum kononongan kejut imlala tar lam nakan wawinin yang paling rai ini negi ceni kenan ka ini paling tak yang kenan ka cuni ni nang mereka kejut oleh berjin I'm just telling everyone that maybe later on, let's bring this up and talk about it. You know, it won't hurt just to get everybody's opinion on this important treaty, nuclear ban treaty. All right. Anyway, kung gano'n yun ang multi, ano yun kay Ramanol?
Thank you, Mr. Consul. Ilotoren ganit kurngan riganonoyo jen enewadak. I'm going to ask the person from Enewetak to come and speak on behalf of Enewetak. And Enewetak is one of the islands that were also affected by the nuclear fallout and things back in the 1940s and 50s. And I have Reverend Talanja, who's also from Enewetak.
Yeah. Before I use my own language, I would like to thank our Heavenly Father for make us come together and hear what is very important for every one of us. And my name is Reverend Dalanja David. My mother is from Enewetak, and my father is from Panape. And you know the reason I really want someone to help me to translate from Marshallese to English, because I have something in my heart. And if I speak in Marshallese, only Marshallese they can understand what I mean. But the white people, they will sit and listen, but they cannot understand. Now I call upon Mr. David to come and help me. I will say be word in Marshallese, and he will help me to translate.
I'll do the best I can.
You know it? Yar jab loda kilo Enewetak. Yar loda kilo Wujilang.
I wasn't born on Enewetak. I was actually born in Wujilang Atoll.
Aramjin Enewetak, lukun layamorone wair Enewetak. Echablo Wujilang.
The people of Enewetak are originally from Enewetak and not from Wujilang.
Elegin kamel miliurar kamanlo Bikini rar pok armijin ni Enewetak chen Enewetak embolagir ngan chon jigin elabane tolok kemarja perilo yon eni amarai.
During the testings of the nuclears on Enewetak and Bikini, they took the people of Enewetak from Enewetak out to far distance. And it wasn't actually on a land, it was somewhere out in the water.
Meliginan rilok kakamil miliur rabat kajabalatok armijin Enewetak ngan Enewetak.
After a while, then they returned the people from Enewetak back to Enewetak.
Meligin marong chuan akro year kiri kamagit armijin Enewetak ngan Wujilang.
And then about 1 or 2 years later, they moved the Enewetak people to Wujilang.
Ilo am karadalim perilo Wujilang. Echuan wauno ekar kanujin bin.
During our time on Wujilang, it was very, very tough.
Echalo jabarewet.
There was barely anything there.
Kemar magi pikut kilen. Pagamin marong survive.
We had to find our own ways to survive.
Ejapo ngayon kananag kiyane wan majal. Akrar pukim jane no edak polangan wujilang. Imeligin radim jo naling ejakabuto tima.
Not to talk against our government of the Marshall Islands, but they took us from Eniwetok to Wujilang, and not till 9 months later, they brought supplies, food supplies.
Enangan awalep yeno kimi berian lalabro emligaro rajadalin jupong chijino awa lalemawa edale mengwar emrol duglo chijino awa chuda kenige rej kapuk mange angan anarmi marong sorwa builguni chalak chabrewat.
During the time on Wujilang, the men had to go out early in the morning, break of dawn at 5 a.m., and didn't return home until 6 p.m. to find supplies, food for the families.
Echapoy ngayon kananay chabrewat Marshall Island government or U.S. government. Ak ijo me anich ar kajaraman armijin enowadak emiligdir ilo lamor enoair ilo enowadak eme ora temegim kajire uninan wor ralok uninam iyo no unigain kinige ar kamagit kim chen ijo ani jar ledok penjigin gem nganjon jigin me kemi echela melalaga.
And once again, not to talk against our governments, both the Marshall and the U.S., but credit goes to God for Eniwetok people were able to go to Wujilang and survive. And we're hopeful and grateful of what happened to us.
Ilo amgar perlo Wujilang agar lukun payanabang.
During our time on Wujilang, it was really difficult and hard.
Ikichen chalalogen arjab lukunaman.
In terms of education, it was very bad.
Ikamololanich kinwanage kap kajibaragoyan nganar mijirain merar shojular. Engin orchidi air raber tu jikin imero chidi air elolo arjikin jarbal.
Nevertheless, we give glory to God because now there are young people from Wujilang and Eniwetok that are here now in the mainland able to look and seek better education today.
Yeno mere kaman tumen lo runit kemi bello Wujilang.
During the time they were building the dome on Runit, we were on Wujilang.
Milo am cibalado jen Wujilang krabar korol do kem ngane no adak egoy or shain go rar kaman boy ene chelak chabreot armijin no adak redalangan lo Runit.
And as we returned home to Eniwetok from Wujilang, we saw signs that prevent our own people to visit our island or land on Runit.
Ngai merongkar perkonono elabolok ikichen tayo arwala gilo Eniwetok ikichen radiation ak bomb agin ga yari gut yar jablota le Eniwetok ar bala ilo minu man ayar sigum rutolok ilo Eniwetok Wujilang emmen ko mi melele kage engin yar chere ngan kom ilo eling raleban rainin.
I would have probably tell you more about the radiation or the bomb and the testings on Eniwetok, but as I mentioned earlier, I wasn't born on Eniwetok. I was actually born on Wujilang and was raised on Wujilang. So I can only tell you today what I know and understand as I grew up on Wujilang.
Bulan puen lukunali gar melele eoram ridel eore regilukun chala kintago imre walak ilo Eniwetok imangan armiro imre chujugu mamana ilo Eniwetok rainin Senator Cheg Aning Mayor Chek Chenaring
And so we all understand and it's clear. We have our leaders that should be the one to talk about these matters. Senator Jack Ading and Mayor Jackson Ading of Eniwetok.
What Bolin Alvin Millerwin, Yar Tabaridok, a Moda Janine, a Magdi Janji, Garan Kile, Olive, Rodi and Clear. Rain Merar Kubado Gilo, Hawain Choji Kubai Pendon, Rujugu Rain Meraridok Chen, Chigulganailo, Washington, Em Kachuju, Rebelli Rainwich, Rumajal, Komkanu Jinemol, Chakaron a presentation, I Chabukun Tole Mamman, Anijan Kajaraman Kujuja Ilo Yenin. Thank you very much.
And just before I go back and sit down from this moment, I'd like to acknowledge all of you that came today. Everyone that's participating in this event today, those students from Washington, and every one of us today. Once again, thank you. Komol, 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 tara.
I want to thank Eniwetok and Pastor Talanja for hearing our call. But Reverend Komol Tada Ganam Garkobatokum, share your story. It is things like this. Iloar Kuba Ipendroan, as we unite and tell our stories. It's not about one island. It's not about Bikini Atoll. It's not about Rongalap. It's not about Eniwetok. It's not about Wutrik. It's about all of these people together in one voice through the works of, our leadership back home, Marshall Islands. I think we can accomplish more than just one island nation or one island entity. So we thank you, and share your testimony. Thank you, sir. Can we give him one more round of applause? We're gonna watch a short video on Eniwetok, and then I'm gonna bring our key speaker, one of our key speakers, Dr. Holly Barker.
My name is Mike Halferty, currently the Minister of Justice for the Republic of the Marshall Islands. I came to Eniwetok and spoke to the people here. We spoke about Runa Dome, a ticking time bomb full of nuclear and plutonium waste. I asked the people of Eniwetok if they would like to invite the entire world to come and see what nuclear and climate change has done to their lives. I asked the I Chief and his answers through his music. When people around the world hear the voices, they will come to see, to learn, and to help.
Ito to aring ran lo lalin lo majalin pe ejudo kajan eor kacamala ko jijudo kagi pe ngai do climate change mi do no gora lap emwalin da lo jidum kokure to min changa jen marong go lo imenagin changa jen marong go me urjeni kan menin skachida kami jibang komol
was a Peace Corps volunteer on Nalo, Mili? Is that correct? On Mili. And experience that changed her life by giving her Marshallese family and creating 30 years of friendship with the RMI. After the Peace Corps, Holly worked with the RMI Embassy in Washington, D.C. for 15 years. During that time, she conducted research designed by the great late Tony Rebroom and Wilfred Kendall to document the impacts of the U.S. nuclear weapon testings from the Marshall perspective. Holly teaches anthropology at the University of Washington and is the curator for the Ocean and Asian culture at the Burke Museum. Holly is joined by a group of Marshallese women connected to UW. Both current and former students, these young professionals are interested in putting their education to use to support the Micronesian communities. Dr. Holly Barker. So great to see you. Thank you.
So much. Thank you so much. Much gratitude to everybody. I have Rachel here who's going to be the translator too, so I'll talk a little bit I'll do the whole thing in English and then she can do it in Marshallese, and then I'm hoping next year she can take the leadership and do this herself too, and that's part of building the capacity of young Marshallese too, because I feel like it's an honor to be able to be here, share some of the ideas that came from the research, but make sure that it's back in the community where it belongs as well. So thank you to the many people in this room who put together the events. I'm inspired by everybody who's on the program, whether it be Glenn is why I'm an anthropologist focusing on nuclear issues. I'm inspired by the films, the poetry, all of the testimonies, and I'm just grateful to David, Kiana, Jesse, everybody who helped build this. And I'm deeply inspired by the young people, the students who came here on their last weekend of their spring break so they could be with all of you. So at the end of the presentation, I'm going to ask each one of them to introduce themselves because they're all Micronesian women, introduce who they are and something that they've learned by working with Marshallese communities in Washington State. Because I want the community to know how much of a pleasure and a gift it is for all of us who are non-Marshallese to be able to join with you in friendship and the gifts that we take from that. So I want you to know how much you strengthen the next generation too and how much you inspire that next generation. So thank you for the opportunity to expand our friendship. I was going to talk a little bit about what we're focusing on at the University of Washington right now and explore any potential ideas, and hopefully there's some people in the room who might want to collaborate with us as well. We're open to any ideas at all. One of the things that we've been talking about quite a bit, looking at museums and how museums have collections that can potentially be used by communities to tell stories that haven't been told before. And in the case of this story, on the left there is the kili bag, of course made by the women of Bikini when they were on Kili. And similar to the story that we just heard about Ujalang and the hardship that people were experiencing there, when the Bikini community is facing the hardship on Kili, after having been on Rongerik and then being on Kili, and the starvation and the diaspora, not being on the homeland and all those difficulties, and how it was the women who looked around at what was available on Kili and looked and thought and innovated and created and came up with something new when designed this new bag that hadn't existed before to help create economics for their family. And it's, there are a lot of the stories about the nuclear legacy that get told. We don't often hear about the strength of the women and the weaving that the women did that bolsters the community. So those are some of the stories that we hope that the museum collections can help do. Is there a way to forward this so I don't have to pester you to do it? Or okay, thank you, Jesper. So with the students at University of Washington too, sorry about the image, and I put a doll so it would not be a person. Just think about how so many people in the United States, when we talk, and I loved what Eldon was saying too about creating the awareness, and how when you point out to most Americans who don't know the history and story of the Marshall Islands, but when you tell them that they know a Marshallese word and that every American essentially knows a Marshallese word, and they all know the word bikini, and they all know that, but they all know it in the wrong context. And so the fact that they know a Marshallese word is kind of the inroad to begin to have the conversations. To say that the bikini bathing suit was inspired by the nuclear testing that took place on Bikini Atoll, and creating something hot and new and explosive. And it's the splitting of the atoms is the energy for the nuclear bomb, is the splitting of the bathing suit into two pieces. So the bikini bathing suit itself, the name of the bikini bathing suit comes from Bikini Atoll. And so it's a start of a conversation, right? That if you ask people, bikini, like they're always thinking about the bathing suit, but what we have to do is how do we change that to be able to talk about the people and the history, and to replace the word, reclaim that word of bikini. Okay, Jasper, can we forward please? Thank you. And yeah, I think I already covered. The nuclear legacy is definitely, I'm not focusing quite as much on that today. It's much more about some of the stories of Bikini that we hope to tell going forward, and focusing on some of the activities on Kili. Could you forward, please? Thank you. So one of the things that we've been looking at the Burke Museum as well is how we bring forward different names that are connected to the collections as well, and thinking that the word bikini, before it became Americanized into the bathing suit, and thinking of it as bikini, and bikini meaning like the surface of the coconuts. And to most Westerners, the idea of a coconut, if most Westerners, if we go to a grocery store and purchase a coconut, it's about the meat that's in the inside, or the milk or the water that's in the inside, and then, nobody knows what to do with the outside, and kind of it's disposable and kind of toss it away. But, the name of the atoll, the name of the homeland being the surface of the coconut, that's a source of strength, right? When you make the rope in the Senate and take the outside of the coconut and roll it into the rope, and then that Senate rope binds together the canoes that create the possibilities for the community. It binds together the houses that hold together the community. That surface of the coconut that the name Bikini comes from is a source of bringing community together and allowing communities to thrive. So it's a reclaiming. It's not a bathing suit. It's a strength that binds community. And so it's reframing that name of Bikini and taking that word back, so that it goes back to its original meanings. And so we try to bring forward different images. Yeah, feel free, thank you. Another thing that we're trying to raise awareness with in our collections as well is thinking about the role of SpongeBob. And again, thinking that, in the United States, where now, there are Marshallese communities everywhere, and people in the United States have such little knowledge about the history of the nuclear weapons testing. So there's this almost like a hyper invisibility of that history within the United States. People don't know about that history, yet, like the bikini bathing suit, everybody knows about SpongeBob. There's this hyper visibility of SpongeBob, and everyone knows, where does SpongeBob live? There are a lot of young people in the room. Where does SpongeBob live? Bikini Bottom, right? And so on the surface, like the surface of the coconut, on the surface of Bikini, nobody, of course, is allowed to live there because the contamination is still there. It's still too radioactive for human life. But below the surface, SpongeBob is able to inhabit there. So SpongeBob, this fictional character, is able to reside on Bikini Bottom. So it creates this opportunity for a conversation. Again, people don't know about the surface. They don't know about the uninhabited Bikini. They don't know about the nuclear weapons testing there. They don't know about the reasons it's so contaminated that the Bikinian people can't live on their ancestral homeland. People don't know that part. But there is that familiarity with SpongeBob living on the bottom of the lagoon, the bottom of the bikini bathing suit. Okay, next please. So SpongeBob and his friends live in the contaminated area at the bottom of Bikini. So again, like the Bikinians are not allowed to live on their ancestral homelands, but this fictional character has taken up residence in the area. The fictional characters go to Goo Lagoon. And if you think about, I put some of the synonyms, you know, Goo Lagoon, words that mean goo are like ooze or sludge or muck or gunk, like it's all the terrible things of the nuclear testing that happened at Bikini's surface sink to the bottom of the lagoon, and that's where SpongeBob is. So the characters in SpongeBob are mutations. So they're all mutated sea creatures. And the reason that the sea creatures are mutated is because they've been exposed to the radiation at Bikini Atoll. So the whole basis of SpongeBob is the nuclear weapons testing at Bikini Atoll is the start of the story. So it doesn't, SpongeBob doesn't follow that narrative through all of its stories, right? It doesn't, it's, you know, they're not fitting to that story all the time, but their location on Bikini Bottom, there are live action detonations that take place within the movies and the stories where the atomic tests happen. And then these characters, the source of the humor of the characters are they've all been mutated by the radiation. And so we know that the radiation mutates and contaminates. That's why there are no people at the surface. And that's what makes the characters funny below the surface. So the goal now becomes, if there's this hyper visibility of SpongeBob, how can we use that for discussions? How can we use people's knowledge about SpongeBob as perhaps an introduction to begin to talk about some of these topics? So to the left is what's really at the bottom of Bikini, the detritus from the nuclear weapons testing, and on the right is what's there in this fictional world. And so I think we want to begin to challenge this fictional world and to talk about it. Next, please. When we think about SpongeBob too, you know, it's taking the absence of the Bikinians on their land, and then there's this sort of this Western entitlement to take something that's not theirs, right? And so I guess on this one level, I really resent that SpongeBob pushes himself or the characters into a place that's, it's once again, it's rather kind of Western imperialism and colonialism and dominance, but that's, I don't want to get into the whole academic realm, but there's a, I guess like a, it's very presumptive, we'll say, for SpongeBob to take up residence there. Well, another thing that we really focus on too in this idea of like reclaiming the land is that just because people are not residing on the land, on the surface of Bikini, doesn't mean that that bottom of the lagoon where SpongeBob resides is not part of that world, right? And so we talk about with the collections, even just like the words, right, and how the language conveys meaning. And so this idea of Marshallese sense of place being like Ailung Kenar, and that word Ailung, right? It's Ailung not just being the land that's beneath your feet. So it's not just the land of Bikini that's at the surface where the people aren't living anymore, but the eye being the seas, right? All of the oceans, all of the lagoons, right? So the eye is like down where SpongeBob lives, right? And the lung, like being all of the heavens, right? So on Marshallese worldview, that sense of Ailung is like all the seas and all the heavens, right? It's this huge, expansive world. And so the fact that the Bikinians aren't on top of their land doesn't mean that the bottom of SpongeBob is not directly connected to their world. It's the part of the eye in the Ailungkenar, right? And so all of the Marshallese, there's so many Marshallese creation stories too, like the life comes from the bottom of the sea where SpongeBob is, right? Think of all those buebuenado about like guys who go out fishing and they pull up the islands and they pull up things from the bottom of the sea. There's stories about the whales that come up, the islands that come up, right? Everything's being pulled up from the sea because the sea is like where the life is. It's like the center of life. It's where the volcanoes come from, that where the coral animals create the coral atolls. Like everything comes up from the sea. So SpongeBob becomes, I think, even more offensive and problematic because SpongeBob is where creation comes from. It's like where the life comes from the seas, right? Without the seas, without the fish, without the marine life, Marshallese culture and people doesn't survive, right? And so for this to be comical, for this to be entertainment, for these mutations, for this residency in this bizarre world of goo on Bikini Bottom, it becomes highly offensive once an awareness comes along. But it's the awareness that isn't there, right? There's that disconnect. Like, how is it we're so disconnected from bikini bathing suits that Americans don't know about the history of bikini? And how does that get replicated in all the people who watch SpongeBob and aren't realizing the history of why are these characters in this place and behaving this way because of that? Okay, next one, please. And so I put some more images together that show that difference between what's happening at the surface in real life and sort of what happens in fiction below the surface in the SpongeBob, right? So to the right is a picture of SpongeBob running away from a nuclear bomb. So in the cartoon, the nuclear bombs become the source of the humor. It becomes the source of the entertainment, right? And SpongeBob and his friends, they run away from the bombs. But the picture to the left, like this is the Bikinians leaving that same island. SpongeBob is running away from the bombs in the fictional accounts, and the Bikinians are forced to leave on the left because the US took them off of the islands, of course, for the nuclear detonations too. So when you think about these scenarios together, it creates a context for more conversations. Next, please. And again, too, thinking about how being able to watch SpongeBob and laugh at these things, there's a privilege of that because there's a distancing, right? It's, for most Americans and Westerners, it's so Bikini Bottom, nuclear detonations, goo and contamination is so far from Westerners that they can laugh at it because it's not personal, it's not intimate, it's not their ancestral homelands, right? It's not, it's not their life and culture that have been destroyed in the same way. So there's that ability to be entertained by something and to laugh at something. There's a privilege of distancing that comes with that. This was a piece of artwork on the right that somebody did to try to reconnect SpongeBob to the Bikinians and the story of the Bikinians by putting the bikini flag with SpongeBob as an opportunity to create some conversations, right? And so what the students and I have been thinking about are like, how do we develop curriculum? How do we start to have these conversations? And since SpongeBob is being developed for younger audiences. How do you introduce these incredibly difficult topics about U.S. nuclear weapons testing, about destroying people's homelands and cultures, and introducing illness and moving people off of their land, and all of those hardships that we were hearing about earlier? How do we begin to have those discussions? And it's something that we are very much thinking about. What we're hoping to do is to talk with some of the Bikinian community members too, to get some thoughts from the Bikinian community about what does it feel from your perspective that your own community, that your own children and families can't live on Bikini, yet SpongeBob could live on Bikini. And we'd like to hear some of your thoughts, and the students would like to hear some of your thoughts too, because if we could hear your perspectives, then we could start to build that into some curriculum and design some educational materials so that we all could use SpongeBob as an opportunity to critique and engage in some different conversations. So again, like some of the stories that we want to tell too, the Burke Museum in Seattle, Washington has many, many very old pieces from the Marshall Islands. We have jacky-ed weavings from the 1890s. We have killie bags from the 1950s. Sorry, next one, please. We have killie bags from the 1950s that the women made, and we want to make sure that those are put on the exhibits so that we can begin to tell the stories. We want to have in our public institutions like the museums the acknowledgments of the history, but also about the resiliency of the community and the strengths of the community. The last time that I was here 2 years ago, we talked about how in the Marshallese canoe that the bottom piece that protects the whole keel is called the Joj, because the whole community rests on kindness, that sense of, without Joj is what protects you. Right, that sense of Joj and how essential that is to Marshallese culture. Well, we also want to use some of these other pieces in the collections to make sure that the nuclear history and the climate change, like there are these very large, challenging issues, but that they don't, while we have those conversations about the difficult issues, we're not losing sight of the strengths in the community and the resiliency in the community. We want to make sure that those parts of the culture also get talked about at the same time. Because in the case of the women weaving the bag on killie, like that, they provided an essential means of support to the community when it was at its hardest time. And I think the role of the women needs to be acknowledged and brought to the surface, you know, just like the SpongeBob. I think bringing the contributions of the women and their strength and their resiliency, it was their creativity to look around on killie and think about what they could do to help their communities by weaving that new bag. So we want to make sure that we can bring out those stories too. So at the Burke Museum, we've had the wonderful fortune to work with a lot of the Marshallese community members. Lucky Judah on the right, 3 years ago, I'm trying to remember, 3 years ago, right? 2, 3, one says 2, one's 2 or 3 years ago. When he was visiting his daughter in Washington, and he contacted us before March 1st, and he said, you know, I need to be with my ancestors on March 1st. March 1st, the anniversary of the Bravo detonation on Bikini, is the hardest day for me. And I need the strength of my ancestors on that day. So he asked if he could come into the Burke Museum so that he could hold the old jacky-ed. So to the picture on the left that shows the women holding the jacky-ed, those are from the 1890s. And so as a source of strength on his hardest day of the year, he wanted to hold something that his great-great-grandmothers had made, that was made with plants that were grown on his islands that he can no longer access anymore. And he held on to the jaquilled and he cried. And he took the strength of his ancestors. And it was probably museums, there are a lot of crazy stories and difficult stories about how museums ended up with collections, and there's some terrible histories that also need to be addressed, but there are also these opportunities for re-engagement in museums. And so our approach has been to open up the doors and find anybody we can who wants to come in and touch and hold and engage and then learn with these pieces. I wanted to let you know that they're there so that if you ever come in Seattle or you have any family or relatives who want to come in Seattle, we want you to come and see these pieces too and learn from them and touch them and help think with us together what is the best use of those collections to support your communities and to create those kinds of reconnections for us. And so the students and former students, many of them are now graduate students, have been spending this time in the Burke Museum working with, we call the pieces ancestors because they're living cultures, they're made by things on the islands, they're made by your great-great-grandmothers and grandfathers, and they're very much all of the knowledge and brilliance and creativity of those generations. You can hold that in your hand, and there's a power and a strength that comes from that, and we want to make sure that people have that opportunity to feel that strength and that connection and that power. So partially this is just an invitation and a welcome. If you would like to come to the Burke and connect with some of your ancestors, then we would love to have you do that. And we've held March 1st events now at the Burke Museum for 3 different years. This year we honored all of the women in Washington State who had worked closely with David and others to get the health care passed in Washington State, and to make sure that we're using that day both to remember the history and to not forget that and to acknowledge that, but also to focus on and find those places of strength and resiliency in the community so we can grow and build on those and nurture those and support those going forward. And those victories, like the signing of that bill in Olympia, those show that same kind of resiliency and fortitude that the women showed on Kili. That sense of resiliency and strength is still within the community, and it's still operating in all of you. And it's exciting to see, and whether that's the collections can help add to that, or the students and I can add to we all, it's that sense of what Jesse was talking about, all of us working together, building on each other's synergies and creating new kinds of strengths in each other. And I think these are just a couple more of the pictures of some of the engagements. But yeah, let's keep it there if we could for a second. This is a photo. We have a group in the Burke Museum that we call Research Family, and it's all Pacific Islanders who, for the most part, come in and select from the collections what it is that they want to study and learn about, and then ask their own family members or community members to help teach them more so that we all learn together as a community, and we build family, and we make sure that their education is connected to who they are as people. And I think what I'm going to do is to invite the wonderful young people that came along with me today. All of them have had a chance to work with the Marshallese community before in Washington State, either hosting the March 1st solidarity events, where we don't want the Marshallese community to feel alone on such a difficult day. We want them to know that they have friends and they're supported. And that we know the history and we're sorry about the history, and we stand with them in efforts to go forward. And they've also flown to Spokane, gone to Olympia, and helped to testify on the COFA bill They've been putting their education to use to try to benefit communities, but they've grown tremendously as a result of their interactions with the Marshallese community. So I would like to invite all of the young Micronesians who join me to please come up here and introduce yourselves, where you're from, and something that inspires you or something that you've learned from the Marshallese community. How has working with the Marshallese community impacted you? And please come up, and this will be some of your gift back. The community has taught you much, and this is your chance to let people know how you've benefited from those interactions. Who's gonna start?
Hello, thank you for having us. My name is Rachel. También, I'm from YAP, and I just graduated last spring. I'm a pre-med student studying for medical school right now. I've been working with Holly for a couple years now, and I guess one of the greatest things I've learned from your community, both in Washington and Oregon, is the strength of community. No matter where I go, like we're advocating for the COFA healthcare bill in Olympia or just community events, Marshallese always come in numbers, and it's always really inspiring to work with the community, and it inspires me to work with my own community as well, both broader Pacific, Micronesian, and also the Yapese community. So thank you.
Do you mind if I bring the translator over here while you're talking, and she can translate it?
Hello, everyone. My name is Rendija Crisostomo. I come from the island of Guam, and I've also been working together with Holly for about 4 to 5 years now. I went to my undergraduate, or I did my undergraduate in anthropology, and I also am doing my master's degree right now in cultural studies because of the drive that I have to work together with my Micronesian community. And something that I really appreciate about being a part of the Marshallese community as well is the amount of strength that comes from community, just how open everyone is to building family and just being within a huge university and then seeing everyone there, especially the strength that comes from the Marshallese community, is something that continues to drive us today. Yeah, thank you.
Yakoy Olive, Abayin Rendija, Ngalerigan Guam, Yarka Rojalagjan Anthropology, the University of Washington. Milo Jarawalipen community in the community in Majal. Elabalo Kayorami. Do Pamle Rainwatch.
Hi, my name's Brianne. I am also from the island of Guam. I was a student of Holly's when I was an undergraduate at the University of Washington, and currently I am a graduate student in American University in Washington, D.C.
Hello, Elaine Brianne. Yarbar Karojalagido University of Washington. Nungay kiyat Jewel ilo Washington, D.C. ilo American University.
After graduating from the University of Washington, I worked for the Commission on Asian Pacific American Affairs.
And then now Karujalagjan University of Washington, Yarjino Jarabalipen Asian Pacific Community Affairs.
And while I was there, one of the issues that we worked on was advocating for a similar health care bill that was passed here in Oregon. And as it was mentioned earlier, yesterday, or 2 days ago, was the day that it was signed.
You know, Charabali Bear Yarbar Charabali do Charabalagan Juanbar health care bill, and what health care bill Rajani 2 days ago.
And through that experience, I was really inspired by the community for coming to Olympia and sharing their stories. And yesterday, or 2 days ago at the bill signing, the governor's office was really inspired by how many community members came down to Olympia and really saw the resilience and the strength of the Marshallese people, and also how giving they are. There was a video of the Marshallese community giving gifts to the governor, and after working in the state capitol, I can tell you that there's never been a bill signing like that before, and you could really see the presence and the strength of the community that day.
Juan mania lo air sign it bill okay. Jangan lo Juan community idongan Juan bill signing. Imro kan governor and no maromarim pujan gift. Yum and no they logon laban giving community in. Does anybody want to come up and translate for me?
You're doing good. You're doing good. You're doing good.
She said it a lot better, but ilugun naban eno ilugun pelang meja nagan when go chilugun yago yaramet. Chigan again may sign bill.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here today with all of you.
Yahweh, my name is Cassiera, and just like these other lovely ladies, I too am from the island of Guam. I actually moved here a year and a half ago, and so I'm still kind of new to Washington, and it's my first time in Oregon as well.
Yahweh, Edain Cassiera, Galerugan Guam, Yaradonga Nanin, Troyer Modalak, Yum first time in Bello, Oregon Rainin.
And so I guess this past year and a half is definitely the most time I've ever interacted or built relationships with the Marshallese community.
Imido yain kay ijigap tonga nanin, ijigap dan lukun charawali pen remaja.
And throughout this time, one thing that I've learned, and one thing I guess that has been echoed throughout days and even just today, is the amount of kindness that the Marshallese community brings forth in every space.
Im juan men ngaji lukun loy jen kaya remaja le jojo ami.
And just like Eldon said, with the atomic veterans and how history is what connects us, I think being from Micronesia, it's our region that connects us. And moving forward, I just hope to promote more peace and advocacy and stand alongside our Marshallese community, no matter even if it's in Washington, but going back into the islands and extending that advocacy for them as well.
Im juan men ngaji loy lo ijinagay history or elugun kabene kayo wachan Micronesia. Yung ngaji look forward ngan charwali lo. Ilo Guam yung kalabalaga connected history in lo Micronesia.
Thank you.
Yahweh. My name is Deidre. I'm also from the Marianas, the island of Guam. These beautiful ladies I'm with pretty much said everything from my heart that I wanted to say. So I just wanted to thank you for having us here, welcoming us in to this space, for allowing us to hear your stories. And I'm very inspired by everyone here. My beautiful women that were here, all the faces, all the words, Dr. Barker, everyone. I don't want to take up too much space. I'm just here to listen. I'm here to learn. I'm here to spread awareness. And I'm here to advocate. I'm here in solidarity. I'm here out of love. Si Dios mo así como kata.
Edain Deidre, parang Galerugan Guam. Elabel monanan perijen rainin lo meja mi aleb im dronga jaga ami konono elabel monanan perijen.
Okay, so Rachel is going to explain a little bit about the SpongeBob thing. She's going to explain it in Marshallese. Kanage Lirigan Majal. Wait, is your mom Marshallese? Are you half? Both? Okay. I'm half, so I always assume somebody's half. So she's gonna tell the story about SpongeBob. Ilo kajin Majal, pajin lukun melele. Ngayon lukun point out the elugun. Elugun chichit an gar Dr. Holly Barker dom kalok from a cartoon im common kajak point of view. Kayan rumajal beran kalong an ajuri chiring rai nijir kan SpongeBob e kigi lo bikini bottom. Chep kigi lo bikini top. Kanage bikini top is radiated. Agar le dogom ligdi lo bikini bottom. Iloan, I'm gonna let you do your thing. Yeah. So go ahead, Rachel.
I'll introduce myself real quickly. My name is Rachel. I'm from Seattle. I was Dr. Holly Barker's student for a long time. I still am today, even though I'm not enrolled. I graduated from the University of Washington Bothell campus, and today I just kind of hang around the community and do what I can to serve. So my Marshallese is kind of rusty, so if anybody wants to come up and help me if I mess up or chime in, do what you can. I'm totally open to it. So I'll do the best I can. I probably won't present as well as Holly did, but yeah, I'll do my best. Okay, here we go. Enodan gar Holly ba. Jonian jarabala gainje kanan gat tabarailo museum yanaj. Kovado community gain in Majal. You may not bogaling that problem gainje yone ilo ainengoar. Eno nuclear legacy climate change. John Wywen Jamerong reach out ngan olevum kalawalak awareness ilo enin. Ilo mainlandin. Jadian problem go je Ego ngane jino kanana kan nanay bikini. Ilo kajin majal eno danagar haliba. Bikini toyo mejej magay kamanejen. Jen wainian. Toyen mejej kamanejen wainian. Im toin eno elugun kajoro gay jemerong kaman karagaraga jemerong kaile deomagagay. Lag ilo kajin pelle. Imujan join imagine. I think we can move on with the slides. Imujan join imagine Europe. Nyland join bathing suit in bikini. Lagi do ailang guar. Jininya lag kanagay bikini. Ano delugun chaje manat. Elugun kakuray manadinar. But join when yorar kakuray nanay. Ejilo pijain SpongeBob. Yung pijain SpongeBob. Elavan ajari aloj pijain. Parano ajari ronejir. Bikini bottom. Ilo kajin majal chejaba. Lalin bikini. Ilo alioan pijain ejaba. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Exactly. Okay. So everybody knows, right? But where's the sea? Where's this island? It's in Bikini Bottom. Yung pijain elevan kaman kajakan paijenya yon bikini. Yung menyo ilugun reporo ragagay kan waiwan ko pijaya karami jo rain rej kaman kajakan island goar. Nan nay island ay imlang. Ay loja deo egano jin lab. Lang ejilang ijoyan me ani je chogoye kay maramit e chogoy langan ain yum ailangin aurangan mana dewar im jalak dukun kalamalajan kay nanin elaban walo laleong arangan kay ramajal kumelele kay enot nanay ailang edugun kajor ilo mana tini milo kajininar armi recep jalay tain Rejatang gagaylo ay ralo jay pijain. Redongan, sorry, I'm not following the slides. Can you keep going? Yes, this one. Can we go back on? There we go. Chalo lale nngay. Ray kaman kaja kagay pamle go me. Raga nangan me yimichen paijenen pamako. Many of me ray kaman kaja kagay engin. Jaganan rong ajen kom. Jaganan rong story ka na amilo. Ailang gorar pame. Elemen amgar low impact ko ilo pamle go ngan rainin. Elemen am lo chorrain gain rar walangan. Ro nugum agane go ami. Jaganan rong pwe wenado go ami. Enoda mi jalai. Juan Jonian story go jagar rong ajen army jorome rejalai kaman karagarak. Tubungay nag wala bago. Ikan pada ilo wine. Pada me rajaba Jojo. Milo manedi na kay. Jojo elugun enod namba na kay. Ngay jago Jojo ene jago manedi. Yung karay no pijain. Parjone poy buenado. Ilo enen kule. Regar kapyo guay na irmeor. Ilo yan pa me orar kwele. Imelang chedra nangen me. Yim jago. Akaray rain rar kapyo guay na irmeor. Yim rar kamane yabagay. Yabin kule. Enot kain kabajat. Yim bolen jechep chalay kay ngay jaga chalay gan yabin. Kay na iradan kabajat kagay peron merong en meor. Agja buya kagay agja kay rar kwele. Yim ngay ranagar aja buya kagay yabagay ranagar survive. Yim pwede na do gain rechuan way no come. Chemerong kalawlag awareness ilo community gain. Pwede lebron chala gay. Ilugun laban chorren aramijan majalajan nuclear legacy yo. Yung pulen kumi jalay kachin Lucky Judah at tongan Seattle yo enodaladium at tongum lale jagi gay rar kamane ilo 1000 rally dongol radam join. Sorry, 1890s. So about 100 years ago. Yung elag jibuy gay at tormejen. Pues menogorar kamane menogorar kajarwalangan kamane jagi gay na gay. Rejago ilo ene yoan. Rabon bar walag pues imujan jorran ene yo. Imer tormejen. Yung chagi gay rechuan menogo chegujin rabiji. Yung chuan menogo me lalilo museum yan. Ego como lale. Chalo por ngayon karwa kanana ka kadawat.
Thank you so much, Dr. Holly Parker, and the work that you do. You inspire people like me that want to go out there and talk about Bikini, that want to go out there and introduce Bikini to the world. And what you guys have just done here with this, it brings my son, my baby boy was just yelling. She was like, who lives in the bottom of the, I don't know. But he started going off. He was just so into it. I mean, if I can implement that, if we people of Bikini can implement that into the schools and where they understand the story of SpongeBob, that is powerful. That is you can talk to a little kid, and then maybe when they grow up, they want to do something to help you guys, to help us. So thank you so much. Can we give her a round of applause? That was awesome. Before we go any further, I know a lot of people are hungry. I'm hungry. So we're gonna take some time to eat, we brought food. So whoever is ready to eat, we're going to go back there and eat, and then we're going to have a speaker from Rongalap after we go. Thank you, guys. Go ahead, have some food.